Ladies and gentlemen, Alvaro Siza.
President, distinguished guests, Senhor Embaixador de Portugal. I was born as an architect in a time of glorious handicraft work, in quiet continuity of tradition, even if it was turning into a new language. I learned much in direct contact with workers. The first time I felt the changes in process of which I had indirect knowledge was when informed, while working in Berlin, that I should not discuss building matters except with the building director. Later on, working in Holland, where to build meant to put together prefabricated elements, I developed projects walking along the streets, and I enjoyed it. I want that brick, I want that type of window, that stone, that color, and so on, like making an objet trouvé sculpture. Things were and are constantly changing. More than 50 years ago, I could see for the first time one of my projects built. Since then, I have had different opportunities in Portugal and since the 80s in other countries. Most projects were not of big dimension, but they interested me for their program, their context, or the experience they could bring. I could get to know people and towns, and I had direct contact with different cultures. I always try to propose something that does not look exotic, even when I feel that there is another expectation. Something that looks as if it had always been there, shaping the space around it, even when the case is the opposite. Not more than a part of the compact urban texture, or something emerging from it according to the nature of its role in the town, rather than my ambition as an architect. A detail of a town, as the detail of a building, should appear as inevitable. I am speaking of projecting in a consolidated town, sometimes an old town. Projecting a new town can be to create the conditions for a similar process of evolution through centuries, an everlasting capacity for transformation and permanence of identity, a moving identity. The influence of direct contact with different cultures is a constant in Portuguese history and the history of its architecture, mainly since 15th century, a kind of heritage in process for Portuguese architects, and for the English as well, I dare say. That has always acted on the evolution of architecture, perhaps as much as technological advances.